Welcome to Week in Horror.
All right, you primitive screwheads, listen up.
The podcast that deep dives all the films you love.
You gotta be fucking kidding.
The week they dropped in horror history.
We all go a little mad sometimes.
With your horror hosts, JL.
When a shirtless Sam Elliott with no mustache takes out an alligator with an oar, that's the kind of movie I'm looking for.
Eugene.
And we're just casually just like, yeah, so this is probably the best way to go, light someone on fire with gasoline.
Alex.
It would not be an original lineup if I didn't have fucking technical difficulty.
Johnny O.
Now, it's not an Amityville, or wherever it's Amityville.
And Aaron.
They got manure to work with and nothing grew from it.
News, trailers, trivia, special guests, and more.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
Live show every Wednesday, 7 p.m. Central at youtube.com/weekinhorror.
Welcome to prime time, bitch!
And wherever you listen to podcasts.
One by one, we will take you.
Week in Horror. Stay scared.
Welcome, horror fans. It is Wednesday, just a little bit past 7 p.m. Central Time. That means it's time for another episode of the Week in Horror podcast. I'm not going to point at who is to blame. And remember,
I was pointing at my name right here, see?
And remember, this is the only podcast that is everything you ever were afraid of. And if you, dear horror fanatic, are listening to us at the top of the week, remember, we do this live right here on YouTube every single Wednesday. Come hang out with us and see all of the craziness that our editor doesn't want you to see, all because everything goes out clean on Sunday. But here's where we get dirty. This week, we're covering select horror films released June 11th through June 17th. Thank you all so much for joining us. I am JL, and with me tonight are Eugene and this homeless guy I found.
Why am I homeless? Fat guy, yeah, but I have a home.
I'm trying to keep it fresh.
No, they like me calling myself fat guy. Although I'm not as fat as I used to be.
You have the beard of a homeless person.
I do. It's because I don't like to smoke.
I have the beard of a homeless person. Or is my beard is more of a
You have Santa Claus. You got a Santa beard.
Do I have Santa beard?
You have Santa beard.
Eugene, do I have Santa beard or do I have Viking Conqueror beard?
You have both.
Don't do that.
Take it. I will fucking take it.
No. And the reason I say that, is because you have the movie. You have the movie Violent Night, which Santa. And he talks about how he was like, the last thing I remember is I was a Viking holding an axe.
Yes. Okay. Yes.
Fuck off. You look like the Santa from the fucking toy store mall.
Ding-ling, ding-ling-ling, give for charity. Anyway, so I don't do that. But I like that. Yes, I am.
JL does play with his ding-a-ling.
I have both Santa. I am both Santa and Viking Conqueror. I like them.
No, you're not. You're too short to be a Viking.
Eugene said it. And as the sex
symbol
says
a lot of shit that's not true.
And as the sex symbol of the show, what he says goes.
That's true.
Oh, no, that's not how this works.
Oh yeah,
that is absolutely how this works.
Not
People
how
in live chat. If that's how it works, please let us know in the live chat. Let us know. Eugene is the sex symbol, so what he says goes. Let us know if you agree. Absolutely.
Negative.
And good evening, everyone in the live chat tonight. We have a bunch of stuff we want to dive into tonight and some interesting films this week.
That's one way to say shit.
They're not, okay. We'll get into it. We'll get into it. But first, let's say
they tried.
The attempts were made. But let's say hi to who we got in the live chat tonight real quick before we get started. Elizabeth S., good to see you, is here, was first in the chat. Thank you so much for being here. Mr. Andrade as well, good to see you. Travis Brown is here, says good evening, horror freaks and geeks.
No. This is a very important.
I'm going to get to it. Good to see you, Travis. Raven Darkstar, good to see you. Mr. Andrade as well.
It, by the way, I'll be right back.
And Mr. Andrade, good to see you, says, oh, yeah, and I did. I got the opportunity to help out a very popular creator over on YouTube today. That was a lot of fun. So I appreciate that, Mr. Andrade. Thank you so much. Casey Cooper is as well. Met in Horror Wednesday. Good to see you, Casey. Thanks so much for being here tonight. Denova28 is here. Says hello, everyone. Good to see you, Denova. He's another one of our amazing patrons, the people who make this show possible. Their names are in the banner down below. You can see it scrolling by. All those amazing people who help to make the show and all the cool production stuff that we do, but, when we're not doing this, possible. We couldn't do it without you. So thank you very, very much. Let's see. Jverse is here. Says back just in time. Good to see you, Jverse. Thanks so much for hanging out. And I hope you had fun hanging out with us at the After Dark. Or was it the Bloodbath debate? I appreciate that. And let's see who else we got tonight. Sarcasm is here. Good to see you, Sarcasm and NANA. Yes, you did. You made it. Good to see you. Thanks so much for being here. Joshua Lee as well, another one of our amazing patrons. And who else we got tonight? Oh, he's showing Johnny is showing more of Eugene's X-rated storyboarding. So
That is my new favorite.
It says towel.
It does say towel. And
why is Freddy Krueger reaching for a towel?
I don't think that's Freddy Krueger reaching for a towel unless it's his penis.
Why is he skeeting out of 4 holes?
Because he's Freddy Krueger. Yeah, you used the wrong hand one day, okay?
It's like a fucking shower head. Yo, Casey Cooper. Yes, we need to get started a little bit late, but we are here. Charlie Welch, good to see you. Says yo. Always fun to have Welchie in the live chat. Only man on the internet never make a bet with. Good to see you.
Now I think that says clock.
Clock.
That does say clock. It's a clock at an angle.
I thought it said clout.
At least it doesn't say the other one.
Josh Willie, we apologize for being late. Brian Powell says, good evening, everyone. Good to see you, Brian Powell. Thanks so much for being here tonight. Always fun to have you here. Travis Brown says, oh, here comes Johnny O, the biggest bullshitter of all time.
No, your mom's
He
not
said
here.
it here. Damn it. Some fries, bitch. Some fries, motherfucker. Angel Rivera's here. Good to see you, Angel Rivera. What up? Good to see you. And Sarcasm says wizard beard. I will take wizard beard as well. Absolutely. I've seen that shirt that has like the markings on it, lower, and like there's a marking up here. And I can't remember. I think it's just like like dad beard down at the very, very bottom by your waist. It says wizard. So I don't know if I'm at wizard level yet, but I'm getting there.
No, you've got Santa beard.
I've got Santa beard.
Yeah, I think that's where it was on the
Viking Conqueror beard. I like that. When it gets wet, it's straggly. It looks when my beard gets wet, it reminds me very much of Skarsgård in The Northman. When he came out of the water, he was like, my beard does that same thing.
Sure it does, JL.
It does. Fuck you. Let's see. Javier Hara is here. It says Week in Horror, Jello. Now there's someone to poo-pooing all the movies. We may poo-poo a couple of these because but there's things to talk about there. Hobo beard? No, Johnny has hobo beard. Johnny has hobo beard. Casey Cooper said the sex symbol or the X-rated symbol depends on the context. For the show, he's definitely the sex symbol.
Little column A, little column.
When you're storyboarding, it's definitely the X-rated symbol. He definitely storyboards an NC-17. Oh, who else we got? Cindy Johnson's here. Says good evening. Good to see you, Cindy Johnson. Brian Powell says I am staying out of this conversation. Wrote it no less name. Good to see you. Says made it barely, but it's always good to see you. Gabba gabba to you, sir. Angel Rivera says Eugene is the sex symbol because his adult-rated horror storyboards. Absolutely. What is this? We've seen that one.
I know, but I think it's important to the story.
If your penis does what's happening in that.
I can't draw arms. I can't draw legs. I can't.
And you can draw dicks.
You can draw dicks really well. Another showerhead penis. What is wrong with your penis, sir?
I mean, I don't know who hurt Eugene, but fuck.
There was that time I was in a jigsaw trap.
Some of me made it out.
Listen, the Marine Corps changes a man.
He used to be white.
I used to be a 127-pound white woman. Facty, good to see you. Thanks so much for being here tonight. Genova28 says, who drew that? A 5th grader? I don't have anything to say. Joshua Lee says, skeeting. That's new. Jayver says, I think wizard beard is officially what Jordan Rudess wears. Oh, Rodinella Sam says Santa dwarven beard. Dwarf beard. I'll take dwarf beard. I will take dwarf beard.
It's about the height of a dwarf. What?
Same thing. I will. I'm about as tall as a dwarf as well.
You're a tall dwarf.
I guess
You're
I would. I would be tall for a dwarf. Yeah, I would be. I'm like that. I'm like the big dwarf in The Hobbit, like the really really tall one, played by Graham McTavish.
Works, I think.
No, it was Graham McTavish. He was the tallest of the bunch.
Yeah, but like saying, "Oh, it's a tall dwarf." It's.
I just can't remember which one. I just can't remember which one he was. Jayver says he can't draw AI. He can't draw hands. He is AI. That or Rob Liefeld. So anyway, Dr. Nimrod, good to see you. Thanks so much for being here tonight. Oh, we got an amazing amount of people, or amazing people here in the live chat. What was this? Rodinella Sam said, time for another episode of the Johnny O Shits on Cinema show. Yeah, pretty much.
That's exactly what's going to happen today. I apologize in advance. No, I don't. Fuck you. You don't like it. Fuck off.
All four.
Yeah, you don't like it. Make better movies. Okay, it's all I'm going to say.
Josh Foley says, jail in the Lord of the Rings, and my axe. Yes, pretty much. That's how I would do it.
He is not Gimli.
Oh, I'm not Gimli. I'm more like Gloin.
Oh, jeez. All right, let's.
Well, we have two things we have to do.
Yes, we do.
Before we get into the movies tonight, Sarcasm says Eugene is a furry. Is a furry confirmed. All they can draw is cut abs and huge peen.
No, I can't even draw a cut ab.
I can't even draw cut abs.
The
abs would look like penises.
It would look like penises crossing each other.
It would look like an otter of penises.
Aaron Ray said I walked in on that's a tall dwarf. And, Charlie Welton, JL Waron, the Eye of Waron. I like that very much. Bomber, thank you, Casey Cooper. That was Bomber. Awesome. Jay versus dwarf like Peter Dinklage in Avengers Infinity War, which is still the funniest fucking joke I've seen in a long time.
Wow.
And he says, your beard shall not pass.
One more time. He's an angry elf.
Javier Harris is Weekend Horror. Hey guys, now I know who drew the storyboards for Superbad. Yeah, definitely Eugene. All right, so we've got two things that we wanted to jump into tonight. What did you want to bring up, Johnny?
Well, I mean, come on. Robert Englund has officially called it a career as Freddy Krueger, and that's sad. But the guy's like 100 years old, or 75.
He's getting out. It's a physical role, so
it really is a physical role. It's kind of funny that he has arthritis in his Freddy Krueger hand.
Right hand.
His right hand, yeah. And he's what? He's 75 or 76. He's up there. He's 3/4 of a century, and yeah, that is a very physically demanding role. And he said himself he can't do the fight scenes any more than one take. And you could do like a stunt double thing, but it just wouldn't be the same. It just wouldn't be the same.
Yeah.
So yeah, fuck, we're getting old. Next thing you know, we're gonna hear Kane Hodder, I can't do anything anymore.
Well, Kane's still going strong.
That's exactly how he sounds, by the way.
Do what?
That's exactly how he sounds now.
Well, Robert Englund also said that despite, he's permanently hung up the glove, he's confirmed it. He also recommended, this was interesting because
did he bring up two names or just one?
Just one name, but there was a previous conversation going on online amongst horror fans about who could potentially pick up the mantle and be the next Freddy. And Kevin Bacon was being passed around a lot because Kevin Bacon, despite he's also kind of getting up there a little bit, but he is in fantastic shape. He's a very physical actor. He looks great, and he's extremely talented. He has that kind of zaniness, so he may be able to capture, Freddy. Not exactly like Robert Englund, but he could make it his own. and it could make it interesting.
What would you want? Would you want a Kevin Bacon, Freddy Krueger, or would you want somebody? I would be more. I'd be more receptive to a no name, complete no name, just somebody new coming in.
Well, and I definitely want to get Eugene's opinion on this because Eugene's is familiar with the actor. Because in the article or in the interview that Robert Englund did, he's actually recommending Devon Sawa, who could potentially take over the role.
See,
I
would lean more towards that than Kevin Bacon. And not saying that Kevin Bacon would do a bad job. It's just that you would see Kevin Bacon. Just no matter what, you're just going to see Kevin Bacon, and I'm going to picture just him and all the roles that he's done. I want to picture this is the same guy who ran in Tremors. That's just how.
Fuck you!
Yeah. Can you fly, motherfucker? I loved him. Him and Burt Ward had the absolute best chemistry.
Burt Ward, huh? Fred Ward, maybe?
Fred Ward. I'm thinking Burt Gump.
Burt.
But Fred Ward, Kevin Bacon, and Fred Ward had. It was a shame when he passed. I had no idea because it was all of a sudden, when he passed away. But those two had magnificent chemistry, and I know that Kevin wants to come back and do Tremors again. Now that he's kind of at that stage where he can kind of I could do whatever the hell I want and have fun with the roles. So, exactly. So, and I wish he would. To have him come back as Valentine would be fantastic. But I would be interested. I will take another Freddy Krueger as long as the person is up to the task and they have the talent to do so. And I like Kevin Bacon a lot. I'm a big Kevin Bacon fan, so I'm a fan of Bacon.
As long as it's not that Jackie fucking
Jackie Earl Haley.
Yeah.
Oh, poor Jackie.
Not that he's a bad actor. He's just terrible for that role, and that movie was terrible. Just bad.
Aaron Reese says, "Did you just recommend a guy named Bacon to play a burn victim?" Yes, I did.
He did.
His name is Bacon, and he looks like bacon. So, but Robert Englund recommended Devon Sawa. For those who are not familiar with Devon Sawa, you remember him from movies like from Idle Hands, and he was also in the television series La Femme Nikita with Maggie Q. So, but he was a kind of one of the back in the 90s, one of the boy actors in the 90s coming up alongside Freddie Prinze Jr. and a number of other individuals.
He's a little younger than Freddie Prinze Jr. He was in the first whatchamacallit, stupid movie.
He was in the first Final Destination.
Final Destination.
Final Destination as well.
That stupid movie. I remember him in Little Giants. Fucking snot-nosed little quarterback throwing toilet paper.
Javers wants to know, what are our bacon scores? I'd have to look mine up.
2. Eugene and I are a 2. No, we're a 3. My bad. We're a 3 because of Art Sue, which technically that makes you a 3 as well, JL.
So I think so. Yeah.
Because you worked with Art on Nail Gun.
Okay. So I guess we're 3s.
We're 3s.
We're 3s.
Yeah. We 3s.
No, wait a minute. 3s. Because Art worked with Kevin Bacon. So that makes us 3s.
Yeah.
No, does that make us 2s? I forget how it works. 1 degree. We're 2s.
We're 2 degrees. We're 2s. Because we're 2 degrees away. We worked with Art on Nail Gun, and then Art worked with Kevin Bacon on whatever he worked on. I'm not sure.
Yeah. I can't remember what it was either.
Travis Brown also brings it. Yes, Devon Sawa also played the when Casper was made human for a night in the 1995 film with Christina Ricci.
Yep.
That was a fun movie. I enjoyed that movie. That was a good one.
That was a fun movie.
But if you think, let us know in the comments below, or of course here in the live chat, or of course at weekinhorror@gmail.com. Who do you want to pick up the glove? Who could pick up the glove after Robert Englund? There was a conversation out there that said Kevin Bacon. Robert Englund recommended Devon Sawa himself. But the question is, who do you think could do it? Who do you think will do it? Let us know what you think down in the comments below, or at weekinhorror@gmail.com.
That's one of those things, you get into sports conversations, right? You talk about, you see in football a lot, American football for all of our European audience or non-American audience. When Troy Aikman retired from the Cowboys, who's going to be the next? Nobody wants to be the next that quarterback. I've seen it happen once where the next guy was great, and that was when Steve Young took over for Joe Montana. Even that was tough for Steve Young. He was like, "Fuck, I'm going to follow this." Nobody wants to be that guy.
True.
So.
You really don't, because expectations are so high and it's so legendary. It's like if you had the school talent show and someone breaks out like Metallica's One solo, and then afterwards you're going to play Hot Cross Buns on a recorder.
Yeah.
I will say Derek Mears got it easy because Ken Kersinger picked up the mantle of Jason after Kane, because Kane did Jason X, and then he wasn't brought in to do Freddy versus Jason. Ken Kersinger was brought in to do that one, and then that one, just his Jason was just so terrible. I couldn't stand it. But
he was diametrically different than what Kane Hodder was as Jason. So Kane Hodder, there's a lot of personality in his performance, and Ken Kersinger was more like the stereotypical Frankenstein's monster.
That's because the director told him to do that. He was kind of like, "Oh, he's like a reanimated monster, so he is like is like the Frankenstein." So it was like, "Oh, I'm Frank." No, you stupid.
And see, but that's not. So we can't hold that against Ken Kersinger. We got to hold that against whatever the fuck his name is.
We can, because Ken didn't say like, "Well, wait a minute," but Jason is known for this kind of conveyance. Even CJ Graham understood that.
Well, maybe he did, but the director's like, no, I want you to do it this way. And ultimately, when the director says you're going to do it this way,
you got to do that. But that could have been a conversation that they had, and directors like just overruled. Because the thing about that director was not a fan of either series. It was almost like someone described it to him. So he was just like, it's like, yeah, I guess it should be something like this. So they could have missed that whole conversation. But even with Jason, you get a little leeway because you have multiple actors that have played Jason. You have 2 that have played Freddy, and the second one was terrible. So people just forget about it. So you're always going to follow up Robert Englund, the one Freddy.
Yeah.
That's so iconic.
This is true. Brian Powell says, I don't think there is anyone that can pick up the glove. Good point. Maybe nobody can.
Yeah.
Ooh, Sarcasm says, animate it, and England can do the voice for another 10 years.
You're assuming he's going to live into his 80s.
This is true. Aaron Reese says, oh, go ahead.
What it is they did with Morgan Freeman, where they had him record every syllable and like letter combinations so that he can form words after he dies.
Yeah. That's so funny.
It was at that point he knew he fucked up.
No, Morgan Freeman is the first true immortal.
It's true.
He'll be narrating things for the next 100 years.
Aaron Reese says, I can no longer deal with Kevin Bacon playing anyone but himself. It'd be like watching Jesus try to go incognito.
Still my all-time most favorite Kevin Bacon performance was that, I think it was a DirecTV commercial where he played a guy who loved Kevin Bacon. You remember this shit? It was so fucking great because he was commenting about himself, obviously. But the last line was, my wife says, I watched so much Kevin Bacon that one day I'm going to turn into Kevin Bacon.
I'll have to go back and find that on YouTube.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Javer says, yep, that makes us 2s. And Javer says his sister is a 1. Very cool. His work with Kevin Bacon.
Hopefully that can be a 1 one day.
Was that work with Kevin Bacon? Yeah, work with Kevin Bacon is 1. That's right. Awesome. Aaron Reese says Morgan Freeman can narrate his own funeral. That's fucking sweet.
That's what's going to happen too. And Morgan Freeman already knows it.
Yeah. Oh, fuck yes.
He probably already got paid to do it also.
Great. Record his own eulogy. That's amazing.
Yep. All right. We also have to figure out how JL's going to cheat. I mean, win the coin toss this time. Look, all I'm saying is,
I don't cheat. I'm that fucking good.
Yeah,
we have the bloodbath coin toss to do. We have the bloodbath coin toss to do for this month. I'm very, I'm excited about this one. This one's going to be kind of funny because it's a little on the obscure side. I wanted to do an obscure one from the list of all the icons we have battling it out this month. And if you did not get the Patreon newsletter, because you're not a patron, but it's okay if you're not, but we always announce it. We early announce it there. But if you did not get the Patreon newsletter, we are battling out the Hunter from Without Warning versus the alien, and I think his name is like Tavok or something like that, from I Come in Peace.
What the fuck?
I promise you, when you line them up, you'll understand why these two.
I gotta write that one down.
So the hunter alien from Without Warning versus, I think his name is Tovok or something like that, from the alien from I Come in Peace. And we have to do the bloodbath coin toss to see who is going to take it. So this month is between you and me, isn't it? Eugene?
I believe so, yes.
All right. So here we go. Unless you have a coin, Johnny. I have the coin, but if you have a coin, you can flip.
All I have is a coaster.
Seriously?
Fuck your mother. I don't play with coins anymore.
I like have change on the desk. Come on.
Good for you. I'm glad you have money.
It's literally like a fucking.
It must be nice to be rich.
Oh shit!
All right, here we go. So we're gonna do the bloodbath
I open
coin
my
toss.
own hotel.
I'll flip it. I'll do the coin flip because I have the official bloodbath coin, and I will call it in the air.
So
and if I win, I will choose the bad guy. If I lose, Eugene will get his choice of the two bad guys. So here we go.
So let Eugene call it.
Tails never fails. And it is tails, bitch.
What I tell you. You have to say with conviction, or it doesn't work.
I
don't even know who I want.
I'm a fucking true believer. I am a true believer now. All right, so I won. So I'm going to take the hunter alien from Without Warning.
Of course you are. Because that's the less shitty of the movies.
I gotta find hang on, I gotta find a pen.
Eugene's got to write this Tovok.
And
Dolph Lundgren's shitty fucking.
at least you know Dolph Lundgren was fucking in it.
Yeah, I've seen them. I used to watch that movie as a kid all the fucking time.
I come in peace.
That doesn't sound peaceful.
It's not because he wasn't.
Actually, but come on, Eugene. It sets up the greatest action comeback ever.
But you
I
doing?
come in peace. You go in pieces.
Yeah. So bad.
That's brilliant.
It's fucking just this shit just writes itself.
It is like it is like the stereotypical 80s action horror type thing with, you know, Dolph Lundgren playing Arnold Schwarzenegger.
He just got that. He's like when he's got he like raises the gun. You go in pieces.
Yeah.
Great.
At least it's going to be a fun movie.
It is a
something
fun
like that. It's going to be something. Yeah.
Everyone's saying I'm saying peas. Apparently, I come in peas. Oh, gross! Gross! Gross!
We got to pay extra for that.
That one. Oh, let me see.
Oh man.
But yes, that's going to be a good bloodbath debate. I'm looking forward to it. That'll be towards the end of the month. And if you would like the chance to be a panelist, to be a bloodbath special guest judge, check out our Patreon at patreon.com/weekinhorror. And if you support the channel at that tier, we'll bring you on as a special guest judge, and you'll get to hang out with us during the After Darks and maybe win some prizes via the horror movie trivia game. So definitely check that out. All right, we'll see. Before we dive in, Colin, definitely Cromwell is here. Good to see you. Says hello, everyone. Good to see you, Colin. Thanks so much for being here tonight. And I see Pope Phil the First is here. Good to see you, Pope Phil. It says, may the peas be with you. Thank you very much. I do prefer carrots, but I will take peas as well. And Travis Brown says, how about that Jesse Ventura's Alien film? Jesse Ventura Alien film? I remember the Hulk Hogan Alien film. Suburban Commando.
Antifreeze.
Do you remember that shit?
Oh, no, there's a Jesse Ventura's. I want to say it's called Abraxas.
Something like that.
Yes, fucking Abraxas.
Yeah. It's as bad as it sounds. Oh,
I
man.
remembered Hulk Hogan. I remembered Hulk Hogan's one because you know Hulk Hogan had fucking Suburban Commando, and that was him and Christopher Lloyd, right? Was that him and Christopher Lloyd?
I don't remember. I don't think it was Christopher.
Or
maybe.
Was that?
I don't think it was Christopher Lloyd.
Oh, now that's gonna bother me. Suburban Commando. That was Christopher Lloyd. Christopher Lloyd and Shelley Duvall. And the fucking Undertaker was in that too.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Yep. So bad.
I just
one
remember
person
the
does
scene.
Predator, and then everybody else tries to copy it.
I
Yep.
just remember the scene because at the very end when he's left it, and then but he leaves his gun, like his interstellar space gun with Christopher
Right.
Lloyd, and then
Yeah.
he gets stopped at the red light that he hates, and he just whips that shit out and blows the red light away. It was like, yeah, I'm the man.
Yep.
Cool, I like it.
Next thing you know, he took over the entire planet.
Angel Rivera says, Abraxas, Guardian of the Universe. Yes. Abraxas.
It's so bad.
Dr. Nimrod says, go JL, pushing the e-begging. Always. The show isn't made for free. Well, technically we distribute it for free, but it costs money we distribute it for free, but it costs money to make. So, yes.
About
And the people down below there, all the cute little names you see scrolling by you, all those amazing people help us to do it.
We only need 100 more subscribers, by the way, folks.
We're 100 away from 1,000. 100 away from 1,000 on YouTube. Slowly but surely. We'll get there.
Almost there. 90% there.
Aaron Reese does say idle hands versus one-eyed monster. Who will beat who the hardest?
There is a fantastic video.
No.
It's a road rage thing where like the two guys pull over, and I think I already told them this. And like two guys pull over, whole road rage thing, and the guy gets out of his car and he goes up to the driver's side window, right? And the camera's inside the other person who's inside, and he rolls the windows down, and the angry guy's like, "You need to step out right now. I'm gonna beat your dick into the ground." And the other guy's like, "What? I'm gonna beat your dick into the ground." It's like that you want to touch my dick that way? And he's like,
fight's done.
You.
By the way, we just got warnings of thunderstorms. So if I just all of a sudden disappear, that's what happened.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Well, we do have some horror movies to talk about, or some either horror movies or horror. No, I'm not going to say that. I was going to joke say that they're horrible movies, but they're not. They're not.
No, I will say it. They're horrible.
No. Nothing will beat The Butcher. Okay, The Butcher was
oh my god,
which is why I brought it up, so I get that reaction right there.
Just because the bar is non-existent doesn't mean that these movies are good.
There is no bar anymore.
Hey, that bar is
the
fucked
bar.
off.
We threw it the fuck away.
Oh, jeez.
Travis Brown took the bar, and now he beats us with it every fucking after dark.
No,
That's
he doesn't.
what happened to the bar.
No, he doesn't. He gets his ass whipped from time to time, mostly by me. Ha ha, bitches.
Well, see, Johnny, you should have been there for the last one, because this wasn't like normal After Dark questions. Like, who directed this? Who starred in this? This was like, in the room that Jamie Lee Curtis stays in, what is the third poster on the left?
Your sister's an asshole. Fuck.
They weren't that extreme, but I had some tough questions. I wanted to make them tough, and I wanted to make them legit. I spent a lot of time researching them, and I wanted them strong. I wanted to go say who really is a horror fan, and man, it was tough. But Eugene and Travis were neck and neck, so I was very proud. All right, Johnny, kick us off, bud.
Well, we got a movie that Eugene calls Humongous.
That shit was actually pretty fucking funny.
We got a
I've never seen
humongous.
that word written down before.
Humongous.
It's not a word you see often, so.
No, that's not a word I hear. Anyway.
Self-deprecation.
I was going to say before all these, I guarantee you somebody over there is going to fucking say it any second now. Anyway, roll that 1982 trailer.
It's a trailer. Let's check out this trailer. And Sarcasm says Winter Beast is the bar, and it's at the bottom of the Oak Island well. Very true. Let's check out this trailer for Humongous.
Humongous.
Among Us. That's how you
Humongous.
spell it.
Six people stranded, cornered, hunted. Because here on Dog Island, something evil has been growing for 30 years. Humongous. It's loose, it's angry, and it's getting hungry. Humongous. God help us.
Eugene, did you draw that? All right. Humongous is a 1982 Canadian slasher film directed by Paul Lynch, starring Janet Julian, John Wildman, David Wallace, Paige Fletcher, and a slew of other fuckers. Basically, during Labor Day weekend in 1946, because we're going in the Wayback Machine, we have this person who was chased into the woods and, by a person, a guy who did bad things to this woman.
I think people you use graped.
Graped, yeah, graped.
Yeah.
That was the word.
It was pretty brutal. It was pretty brutal scene. Pretty brutal opening.
But see, we're not supposed to say that word apparently. But the dogs get out and handle their business and take care of the rapist. Fast forward about, I don't know, not quite 20 or 40 years, but fast forward a few years to 1982. You have your group of idiot kids who steal a yacht, and well, I don't know if they steal it, but they take a yacht and they go on a little 3-hour tour and are shipwrecked on Humongous's island. And as Eugene likes to say, doo-doo gets real. This is the movie.
Yes, this is. So the biggest thing I have about this movie is going on. I'll start off with the cinematography for it. So I have to imagine what the last 30 minutes were, what happened, because there's just okay, it hits night, and then you can't see anything. It's like they had one light. And this is it. We got the one light.
And it was the fucking moonlight.
It was the moon. Once the fire broke out, I was like, oh, that's what's going on.
Yeah. Now that trailer does I think Michael Bay did that trailer. I know he wasn't even an inch in his daddy's pants at the time, but fuck off. Machine guns. I don't think there's a single machine gun in this whole fucking movie.
Humongous. I will say, okay, yes, I have to agree with Eugene on this. The cinematography was, the lighting was absolutely shit. Trying to rely on natural lighting at night, obviously it can be very problematic, as we see in a film like this, because everything was way, 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 way too dark. Yeah. And that is made even worse because the cameras that they were working with were also not the greatest quality, even for 1982 time. So it was either the bad cameras themselves, cheap cameras, or it was someone who didn't know how to really utilize the camera to its maximum capability, because there was already a kind of a natural grain to everything that kind of drowned stuff out, even during the daylight shots. And then as the light got...
In 1982, film grain wasn't something you added an extra. It just came with the process, right? So you've got a lot of film grain things naturally. It seems like they may have used tungsten film when they needed to use the other one. The other film stock.
Oh, you mean more like the daylight temperature one?
Yes. Yeah, they should have used daylight film stock. And had they actually attempted to use lights, that would have really saved them a lot. But you get a lot of that noisy, grainy look the darker your picture is, because you just lack information, and tape really picks that shit up.
Yeah.
Yeah, plus when you look at, so when you buy film stock, right, you buy film stock based on how you want to expose, and that's where the term ISO comes from. So
Right.
if you're shooting a daylight scene or a daytime scene or a nighttime scene, you would buy the film stock that would coordinate with that. But the thing is, film is very expensive. Very, very expensive, and most likely what they needed to use either a higher ISO rating so that it could pick up more information. You're still going to get some grain, but at least you'll be able to see more things versus a lower rated stock. And then the daytime looks fine, but the nighttime is too dark.
Can't see shit.
Can't see anything.
Yeah, most people don't realize that you buy multiple film stock. And if at the time you didn't have the budget for it, you had to pick. And unfortunately, they chose poorly. What movie?
I will say there was a number of missteps. There was definitely a number of missteps throughout the film, but I walked away feeling it was pretty understated. One thing I really dug about is what we talked about on previous episodes was that this is a Canadian slasher film, and in Canada there was the tendency of there was the real trend for directors to try and do something new instead of just cater to the formula that American audiences like so much. And whether it hit or whether it missed really would matter. I like it when people try to do something new, even with something that's already really well established. And you can see a tremendous amount of influence in this film from movies for predominantly what I saw was Friday the 13th Part 2, and of course, Madman, which we've talked about before on the show. A lot of the lighting techniques, a lot of the backlighting techniques that were taken, those shots were taken directly from Madman. Those inspiration shots where you see to really convey how big this dude is. And so those were taken directly from that. And of course, the whole switching when she's up there in the house and the final girl is up there in the house and she puts on the clothes of the dead mother in order to, get the bad guy to go away or drop his guard. They're taken directly from Friday the 13th Part 2 and Amy Steele's big moment in that film. So it took good inspiration from solid films that knew what they were doing. And I enjoyed those moments, and they changed them up a little bit. This one, in what I liked in Humongous, was that the director favored a lot of Dutch angles, which I thought really worked well because they did not do that in Madman. So he played with the perspective in order to really give the perspective of Ida's son, because Ida's son has been sequestered away from society, never been around anybody. Is literally just kind of like a caveman or a Neanderthal, just wandering around this island all by himself. Yeah. So how he views everything is tremendously skewed, and I like that old classic, very similar to what they did a bit, in photography and with videography, and of course in comic books as well, giving the skewed perspective of the world. I enjoyed that old technique, and you don't see it very often. Not a lot. Only a few directors still really fall into that. So I enjoyed the old classic techniques and the ways that they tried to convey the bad guy. Not to mention, pretty intimidating dude. One fun fact: the guy who played Ida's son, the actor who played Ida's son, the stunt person, Gary Robbins, who unfortunately recently passed away a couple years ago, played Sawtooth in Wrong Turn. So Humongous was one of was his first movie ever. So he opened up playing giant mutated evil inbred bad guy. And then closed out his career pretty much playing giant mutated inbred bad guy in the woods. I fucking love that he came in on Humongous and I think Wrong Turn was near one of his final productions. So I thought it was kind of neat.
Yeah. I mean, there were some inventive kills for the time because you got to remember this came out in '82, so we really hadn't had the slew of slasher kills. So this was a little. No, they were inventive. They were cool.
It left a little to the imagination. There was more carnage with the dog scene when the dog ripped apart the rapist at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah,
because that opening was intense. That was a brutal freaking grape scene. And then all of a sudden the dogs get loose, and you're like, oh yes. So I don't know the last time I saw an opening in a movie where I was like, oh shit, oh yes, and the motherfucker gets exactly what he's doing. It's torn apart by German shepherds. I like this movie. That's how you start a movie.
I like the message that this movie's conveying.
I agree with that.
I like the cut of this movie's jib. I really do.
Don't do grape unless you want to get
that is horror genre justice right there. Yep. That's what that is, because those dogs ripped him to fucking shit. And
even at the top of that, she was the one that finished him off. Like he's like,
that's right.
He's like, help me. She's like, nope.
Bam. I will help you die.
Oh goodness, there's a big ass rock here. It was perfect. Just absolutely perfect. Yeah. I really, really do. There were a lot of things I really liked about the movie. Filmed in Ray Charles Vision. Yes, the movie was really, really fucking dark, like super dark. But I got to give him an A for effort on this one. Yes, it was a pain in the ass that we couldn't see a lot of what they did, which is a damn shame because the production value was there. Shooting in that open island, all the scenes with the boat, literally blowing up the boat, blowing up the friggin' boathouse. All of that shit was legitimate, practical effects across the board. And it's a shame that we didn't get to see a lot of it because there was a lot that should have been seen. Everything was extremely well done. And it's possible it could have been an active choice to keep things a little bit darker so that you wouldn't see so much, maybe to avoid the censors or avoid, the video nasties or whatever.
Maybe, but this is a Canadian film. I don't think they gave too much of a shit about that.
I mean, when you start off with an assault scene that intense, you're not concerned about like.
That's true. You're not really giving a shit.
Hey guys, I think we're gonna really piss off the censors by this blood. You mean that thing we shot first? We're good with that, but we're not okay with a little bit of blood and guts.
I will say that I found it interesting that the consensus on this film has improved over time. Obviously, with a lot of horror films, in retrospect, a lot of people kind of dig them a little more. But this one, really, the tables really turned on this one because when it came out, everyone was like, "It's way too dark. You can't see what's going on. It's boring. It's plotting. It's middling. And yada yada yada. You can't even see the bad guy half the time." They did. I think a lot of people back then, because in the deluge of '80s slasher films, people had an expectation.
Yeah, but this was at the very beginning of that, though. This was 1982. There wasn't a whole lot of 80s slashers that were out at this time. This is still at the very beginning of the slasher genre.
No, there were a bunch that came out in between 1980 and 1982.
Right, but understand, it's still the beginning of the slasher genre. You have to think about it. We're looking at this from 2023 when we've got thousands and thousands of slashers to base that opinion on. But at the time, even though a lot came out, this is still 1982. The slasher genre hadn't been really cemented in as formula. There was no real formula for what made a slasher movie.
Well, when you compare this to movies like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, to Halloween, to Friday the 13th,
but I don't think
and movies like The Burning, and
I wouldn't call Texas Chainsaw Massacre a slasher, though. It's a bit of difference in degree. It's more of a massacre film, little less slasher.
Texas Chainsaw to me is like kind of the last proto of the slasher, and then Halloween is the first true slasher.
Yeah.
Okay, so I would say proto slasher. I would say that because there's no real massacre scene.
That's
not
true.
like Slumber Party Massacre or any of the other the classic massacre films that fall into that subgenre, where it's more of a slasher because each one gets picked off in separate scenarios, different setups, and by Leatherface, but each is unique in that respect.
Right.
And Andy says, "Holy shit, is Johnny O polishing this turd?"
No,
I'm not polishing it either. There were things that I liked about it, but there was the big takeaway, obviously, is that you couldn't see much. But I think nowadays, this is what's interesting. Despite the fact that we watched the movie and it was like, holy fuck, man, the lighting is terrible. The cinematography is awful. You can't see shit unless there's some unless it's daytime or unless there's a big explosion going on. I applaud them for all the practical effects, especially back then. I mean, fire effects are extremely hard to do. They sank a boat and they blew up an entire boathouse. That's very impressive. Not to mention water stunts as well, because, I love that. But I love to see, because I love the framing. That very final shot, she's out on the pier, and then all of a sudden, boom, he comes up out of the water. And it was like, that shit's inspired. and it was backlit, very Mad Men-esque, very Halloween-esque. As in, Jamie Lee Curtis is in the foreground. Oh, it's over. And then you see him sit up and it's like, oh shit, it ain't over. So I like that it invoked these things. The problem was just that we couldn't see it. But I also dug that aesthetic because it does leave a little bit to the imagination. Maybe it's because in this generation of high def, see everything, infinite detail, it was nice to go back and say, cool, and be able to kind of fill the gaps in my own mind.
See, but I think there's a better way of doing it. There's a better way of leaving things to the imagination. I think like Saw, the original Saw, not all the schlock that came after, but the original Saw, that one did it perfectly, leaving the right things to your imagination and still being able to see the shit you needed to see. Whereas this one here, I think they just made a mistake when it came to film stock and, all this cool shit they were doing, we just couldn't see.
Yeah, you can normally tell when it's a conscious choice because leaving things to the imagination, if you took the film, say like High Tension, where it's like you hear someone else getting killed in the other room, or you see the shadow, or the camera goes away when he's out in the cornfield and he goes and shoots the kid, the camera's real wide and you see a flash. Like that's leaving it to the imagination as a conscious choice. It just looks like whoever was the cinematographer dropped the ball.
Yep. I'm going to answer a question in the side chat really quick. Facty says, wasn't Texas Chainsaw Massacre based on a true story? In the loosest sense of based on a true story that you can get.
Yeah.
The loosest possible sense. Now, somebody, what's his name, read about Ed Gein. Was like, hey, it'd be kind of cool if this thing over here happened. It's very,
it's like Ed Gein. A fact that a chainsaw and the state of Texas exists.
Yeah,
that's about it.
It's about right. Yeah, that's about right. That's all I have to say about this movie. That's all I have to say about that. Speaking of movies that may or may not be remade, what do you guys think? I want to ask the audience. This actually was posed, I think, by Rodin Last Name. Says, is this one worth a remake? What do you think? Should we remake Texas Chainsaw Massacre? Fuck. Should we remake Humongous?
Humongous.
That'll definitely be the working title.
It could be if we do it. That's what we're gonna call it. We're gonna call it Humongous. We're gonna call the bad guy Gus. Fuck it.
Humongous. Scene 2, take 25.
Anyway, let us know. weekinhorror@gmail.com in the side chat or the comment section down below. What do you think? Should we remake it? I mean, I think this is one of the ones that we could get away with remaking because it's kind of obscure, and I say obscure in general terms, not the horror film terms. It's like horror nerds; they know this movie, but. Yeah, I think this is one of the ones that could be redone, done the bar, because the bar on this one here is down here in this area.
Pretty low.
You can remake this one and actually exceed expectations because
And with technology today, I think you could make it look with not only camera technology, lighting technology, shooting at night, and of course practical effects capability today, you could make something really, really gnarly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree that when we talk about remakes, and I don't like most remakes and avoid most remakes. And Johnny, when you mentioned possibly remaking Forrest Gump, I got unreasonably angry for a second. But this is what remakes are for. Remakes are for films that, for whatever reason, they didn't hit it right.
Good idea, good premise, but bad execution.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah.
So Travis Brown says, nope, we have enough remakes. NA says, no way. Casey Cooper says, nope. And Tony Regime says, yes, we need a remake of Human Gas. Sarcasm says, nah, not enough plot to work with, but that's a selling point.
Yep.
Because that means you can add plot to it.
Yeah. Exactly. We can expand. We can explore.
Yep.
Pope Phil the First says, yes, based on Glenn Serio. That's just
wrong.
It's just wrong. Fact the First says the bar is as low as Glenn Serio's pants. Strange Lex 790. Good to see you. Thanks so much for being here. Says very low bar. A remake couldn't be worse.
Be careful, because people remade terrible movies and made them fucking worse.
This is true.
Yeah, I guess the creator of Allegard was like, you know what? I can't make the worst Dracula movie ever.
Yes, you can.
I didn't want to bring it up. You did.
You have bested yourself, sir. You chose poorly.
Yeah, you did.
You can't make it the worst. Hold my beer.
Casey Cooper says, so in other words, you want to write your own movie and name it after this.
Kind of. That's what a remake is. Yeah, for certain. Yeah.
It would keep the monstrous guy in the woods stuck
We
on
would
an
have,
island.
some of the same words. It and
They'll
the
take place on your Earth.
Human, Gus.
Gus. Yeah, there'll be a boat
What do you
somewhere.
want? I'm sure there'll be a puppy ear or two in there. You know? That's what we should do. We should make a comedy version of it. This is how you can make it worse. Make a comedy version of it. And instead of it being full grown fucking German shepherds that tear the guy apart, you make it like the little teacup Pomeranians.
Still make it as vicious as the rabbit in Mighty Python.
Oh!
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Oh man.
All right, I think it's time for the least shitty movie.
In terms of production value, yes. This one at least had money behind it.
I like the last one though. We'll get into it. We'll get into it.
You would, and I know why you like it too.
All right. Next, we have Hatchet III, which was released June 14th, 2013.
Golly, that recent?
Yeah,
that recent.
Oh.
10 years ago.
Roll it.
I killed him.
So tiny.
I killed him. I killed him.
You guys think a girl did this?
Let me see if I got this straight. A ghost wiped out everyone in front of you. How many bodies you say there were?
20, 30. Crowley killed them all.
Best you got for me? Some kind of urban legend?
I'm telling you the truth.
Whether you want to believe it or not, this has Victor Crowley written all over it.
What the hell did this?
You still think he's dead?
Killed him.
Oh shit! Help! 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 These are somebody's balls. Balls are not to be hanging from trees. That guy knows what's up. If we don't leave right this second, nobody's gonna be alive tomorrow. It's Christmas!
All right.
Confirmed.
Confirmed.
Yes. That is Hatchet 3, directed by B.J. McDonnell, and it stars Danielle Harris, Kane Hodder, Caroline Williams, Zach Galligan. You also have Derek Mears, Diana Leah, Jason Trott, and also Sid Haig, John Michael Sudoff, and Joel David Moore. And basically, it picks up right where Hatchet 2 left off, where Danielle Harris has to return to finish off Victor Crowley for the last time. Well, at the same time, you have the bunch of first responders and some SWAT military people that try to hunt Victor Crowley. They're cannon fodder. They try to hunt Victor Crowley. and shit definitely gets real in this one.
Shit starts out pretty real.
It really does.
Okay, yes. Yeah, when you start off your film with Danielle Harris like fist fucking the bad guy's head, that's one way to get things started, because I was like, he's there and his face all smashed in, but when she jammed a fist in it, it was like, and I was like, oh, okay, she's gonna like rip his head. And it's like, no, she like,
yeah.
I was like, what the fuck? So, thank you, Adam Green, for that opening, because that was fucking brilliant. And yes, Casey Cooper.
Was it brilliant, or was it a thing that happened?
It was fucking brilliant. Because I wasn't expecting it. I was like, oh, she jammed her fist into his face. It's like, oh, great. And she like rip out his skull or some shit. It's like, no, she just straight like fist fucked his skull. So it was like, that was brilliant. Likely, I'm thinking Adam probably thought that up at the moment. It was kind of like, oh, dude, what if she like fist fucked him?
Nobody on set was like, let's not do that.
And everyone said, yes. Danielle Harris needs to fist fuck Crowley's skull in this one. But Casey Cooper says, yeah, the SWAT guy should have worn red shirts. Absolutely.
No,
and Sir Kaz said it was a towel on the storyboard.
Yeah. Well, do I need to remind you?
So as a as a huge fan of Kane Hodder, and of course I do enjoy the Hatchet series. I enjoyed Hatchet 1, Hatchet 2 because it's really, because the Friday the 13th rights we're up in the air for so long.
Well, we all know what this is. What happened? The reason
the whole with the Friday the 13th rights up, like up in the air so much. The inability to do another Jason film. Essentially, Kane Hodder and Adam Green came up with this idea to have like this killer Cajun ghost thing in the woods, which is essentially just Jason. Essentially Friday the 13th. It's an undead revenant.
It's Jason with a predator haircut.
It's a chance to do a Jason style film, to do like Friday the 13th style films with and allow other horror actors that they're kind of getting on in years a chance to kind of come and play in the sandbox, because every single Hatchet film has been just inundated with icons from across the board. And I mean, the list is long as to how many they brought in, even if it's just for a moment. Like Tony Todd's been interested, Haig has been here, Derek Mears, as you saw, Robert Englund has been in this, and of course the Danielle Harris as well. But so many have been here, so many have gotten to play. That's what makes the franchise itself fun. My problem with this one was it feels, and because there's a fourth one, Victor Crowley. This one, unfortunately, feels like kind of like a bridge movie, a bridge from 2 to the fourth one. And it also was just essentially kind of a supercut. For me, I was like, this is just a supercut of like just crazy fucking kills and just goofy one-liners. It's like, oh, let's have like, point out the testicles hanging in the tree and all this like commentary. And then, of course, supercut of Victor Crowley murdering people in hysterical ways. And then Danielle Harris just brooding and yelling at people. And I was kind of like, So for the 4 films we have so far, this one was engaging because the kills are just great. The kills are just hilarious and they're awesome and brutal and violent. But this one felt kind of lazy. And I feel like this is the slump of the franchise, because I really liked Victor Crowley, the 4th film. I enjoyed that one. But this one just kind of like from 2 to 4, this one took a dip for me.
I just think there were 2 tonally different things going on. Yeah, Danielle Harris was trying to bring some gravitas to her role, which you can't fault her for that, because she's trying to be, more than just horror schlock actress. She's actually trying to say, hey, look, I've got some chops. Can't fault her for that. And then you've got all this zany shit going on in the background with the balls and the fucking 2 characters that are weird and like super zany, and then the shitty SWAT guys, and everything is just like too over the top, and like opposition, like opposing ways are over the top, and it just does not work together. I think had they pulled Danielle Harris aside and said, look, I understand you're trying to be, you're trying to bring this to the role.
Really trying to bring her Jamie Lee Curtis out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I think I said, we're saying trying to do this but that's not what this movie's about. This is not that kind of movie. This movie is supposed to be over the top. It's supposed to be zany. It's supposed to be fun. So can you just bring the fun to it? Be over the top and silly. Or maybe they did, and this is what they wanted, which just does not fucking work.
It felt very much like all the scenes that she, I mean, it does. The tonal shifted, and it's so apparent because everybody around her is playing to the comedy bit, whether she's around the officer, the actor who's playing the officer who's carting her around, the chick who's playing the reporter, even when they're around Sid Haig. Anytime she's around everybody else is playing for the laugh. She's the only one who's not. So it's like it just sucks everything down and kind of like saps the fun out of everybody that's in a scene around her, because she's not witty. Because you could play witty back, you could be angry and play witty, but unfortunately, she's just being angry and just delivering lines that were supposed to be witty, delivering them angrily. So we have this weird tonal shift, which is
it's like she didn't get the memo. Like that.
Well, she did get the memo, and the memo was be brooding, and she was like, "Fuck it, let's do it."
And then we were just going
paycheck, paycheck. Dickbag Patrol is here. Good to see you, Dickbag. Thanks so much for being here. And yes, it's all them practical effects. That's one of the best things about the Hatchet franchise, the practical effects. It always goes practical, no matter what is going on, whether someone's taking a belt sander to the face, or getting impaled on a tree branch, or physically ripped in half, or whatever. It's always a lot of fun. Especially my favorite one in this was the scaredy cat guy who got his arms ripped off, and then smashed down into the mud. I was like, that was fucking mean. That was a mean fucking kill. So I liked a lot, but I did love it when he shoots the RPG and he just backs up and
like it olays that shit.
What's great is like, don't kill me. And he's like, huh? Okay. Just let him go. And fucking he just olayed the fucking RPG. It was great. Such good stuff.
I mean, this is the franchise as a whole is, if you like gory practical effects, then you will enjoy the film. If you do not like that, you won't, because that's all it has.
It's all it has. There's a lot of it, mind you.
There's a lot. I mean, pretty much everyone dies except for Danielle Harris and the one scaredy cat guy. Like everybody else.
Oh well, the other scaredy cat guy who hid and was like, "No, I'm not leaving." And he's the only one to give good advice. Is like, "Don't go near the hole. Don't do it. Don't do it." And then of course, it's going to happen. So So
not only did he survive, like Danielle Harris, did she survive? Did she not survive? I mean, based on this movie here, maybe not. But that guy didn't even get a fucking scratch on him.
Yeah, he was like pretty much like perfect run.
Yeah. And all he's telling people is like, it's cool to be a coward. You'll survive.
I will say, and somebody brought up, Travis Brown brought up, can't forget the shoveling the cell phone into Felissa Rose's body. That was another one. But in this one, I did like the fact that Derek Mears, who played Jason in the 2009 remake, how his kill, that was inventive, because it was kind of like when he jams his hand, there's like, oh, he's gonna rip his guts out. No, he ripped his spine and his skull out through his stomach, which I thought was fucking amazing. Through the front. There's like, look what I could do.
Yeah. Well, we know why this movie exists. The Hatchet series exists because Kane Hodder was unceremoniously replaced in Freddy versus Jason, which was a terrible move, and he was kind of irritated about that. Like, fuck you guys, I can still do this shit. Watch me, and he did.
I even think Robert was irritated about that, because I think Robert wanted that showdown as much as Kane did. Yeah,
but Robert Englund could have been like, "Hey, either Kane Hodder does it or I don't."
This is true. It's true. I'm imagining they offered him a lot of money.
Yeah.
And, well, they could have also used the card. Listen, we replaced Kane Hodder. We can replace you too.
And you know what? I would have said, "Deuces, bitches," because look how well that worked out.
You try to make a hit without me. Nah. But I do, like I said, I dig the Hatchet franchise because Adam Green and Kane Hodder, definitely kindred spirits. And I love running it down. Like, riding the nostalgia train is always a lot of fun. Going back to the blood and guts, very minimal plot, if any plot whatsoever.
There's no plot.
Just Cajun ghost in woods murders everybody, and in increasingly inventive ways. I enjoyed it. I've liked all of them. I just simply thought that Hatchet 3, despite the fact that it was a lot more kills and a lot more violence and very, very bloody film, it has a lot going for it. I just felt very kind of lazy in its composition. Nothing really, there's nothing really awesome done, camera wise or lighting wise. The practical effects are all on point. Where the money's being spent. The money's being spent on the things that we love, which is going to be how Kane Hodder rips things apart. Yeah. And, that shit is great. That's all we need. So, but it's kind of there. It's like, I honestly hate fucking saying this, and it's going to get me backlash. I felt that Danielle Harris dragged it. That was my problem. Is like, but it was fucked up because she didn't drag in 2. She didn't drag in 2, but she dragged in this one.
Yeah, and again, I think it's because not everybody was on the same page with what type of movie this was supposed to be. Either the director was like, I'm going to fucking do a bunch of different things. I want Daniel Harris to be super broody and whatnot, but the rest of the characters are going to be fucking off the wall and kind of zany. Or Daniel Harris says, I don't want to do zany. I want to be serious. I want to try and flex. But there was a miscommunication somewhere. The tonalities just did not align and did not work.
Yeah, because Danielle Harris has proven that she can act. So it's not a question of her ability. I think it's a question of either just somewhere direction-wise, where either she basically went on her own page and wanted to do this way, or the director maybe just gave her a bad direction that just didn't fit, or a tone. Just something along the way it just missed.
Or maybe they were rushed. Maybe they didn't have the time to really draw out those performances as they were looking for. Maybe they only had 1 or 2 takes, and they had to kind of go with what they got.
Now, Casey Cooper brings up, doesn't that fall on the director? It's always been, and now I think that depends. It depends upon who your director is, because it's been my experience. Whenever I'm behind the camera, whenever I was directing, I always try to make it a collaborative effort and say, this is what my vision was, but you can't automatically say my vision is automatically going to be what's it. I've never felt that way. It's like, what do you think? Get the actor, the person portraying, get their input as well, because they may come up with ideas from behind the eyes of the character that may work better for the story. Because sometimes when you're kind of outside of it as the writer and the director, you may get a little tunnel vision, and that's why you rely on the talent of the people that you've cast to give you that info, and also your crew as well, to give you the info that you might miss. But get their input and if you've got time, do it both ways. See what works. And you're right, Johnny. They may have been short for time. They may have been rushed, and that may have been why it's like, well, let's just stick with it this way. Let's just knock it out, and we'll get on to the 4th film. But if there had been that,
even then, that still falls on the director, because the director has the final say. A director can collaborate with the cast, but the director ultimately is the one that says, yes, let's go with it, or no, we don't.
Right.
So it still falls on them. And either way, wherever the miscommunication it happened, it didn't work. And also, if you really think about it, in terms of with Danielle Harris, maybe she's not in that many scenes. She's in the police station, then she's in the back of the police car.
Yeah.
She doesn't get there till the very end, where she has that real quick showdown with Victor Crowley. It's mostly the SWAT military people for most of the movie.
Right. Wrote it in the last name, says maybe they were trying to copy Aliens, with Hicks being brooding all the time and the rest of the Marines cutting it up. It had a vibe to it. It had an Aliens vibe to it, because you have the big bads going, the big badasses going into the hive, going into to Honey Swamp in order to take on the big bad. And they all get creamed except for the very, very last one, who makes it to the end. Yeah, so maybe there could have been an Aliens vibe there. I see that parallel.
But the thing is it's the tone. So Aliens has a completely different tone than this one is, because Aliens is a straight serious tone movie the entire time. Yeah, the Marines go and act like Marines, and they can crack jokes here and there, and they can be who they are, but it's the tonal shift. You're not watching Aliens for the super gory over the top kills. That has some great kills in it, but it's not super gory over the top. Whereas with Hatchet 3 is a popcorn film.
Yep.
That's just it. That's absolutely why the tone is off.
And to answer Dickbag Patrol's question, you guys ever seen Living in Oblivion? I know of the film, and I probably have seen it. I don't really recall it. I remember it's Steve Buscemi, Catherine Keener, Peter Dinklage, and this was back from I think the mid-90s, if I remember correctly. So
I don't remember.
It's been a second, but I remember it was kind of funny. But just to answer that question, thank you, Dick Bag. So, but yeah, obviously, you know, I like the nostalgia in it. I like where they went. I like Adam Green, you know, his vision for what this is, because it doesn't try to be anything more than what it's intended to be, and that is Kane Hodder in a monster suit running around the swamp, ripping people to pieces. Dig it. Don't need anything more than that.
Yeah.
Well, it should have been. That's what they just. If they would have stuck with that the whole way, they would have been fine.
Yep. I mean, that is exactly what they're going for. But I want to ask the audience, do you think there should be a 5th Hatchet film? There's already 4. So Hatchet 1, 2, 3, and Victor Crowley. Should there be a 5th installment in the franchise, or should it be done at 4?
Nope.
Let us know in the comments below, or shoot us an email at weekinhorror@gmail.com.
We need 12 of them.
I hear there's rumors that there's a 5th one in pre-production. I've heard rumors, but I haven't found anything to confirm.
Well, the next time I see Kane Hodder, I'll heckle him about it. You weren't there for that, Eugene, were you?
Yeah, I was there when we were sitting there at the Texas Frightmare. We were sitting at the table, and Kane Hodder walked by.
Oh yeah. And I heckled him.
That was not cool.
That was he appreciated it. I guarantee you. He smiled. He was having a good time.
Travis Brown says, "Nope, we have enough." Like Saw. And Dickbag Patrol says, my wife says yes. I honestly would like to see a 5th one because I like where Victor Crowley went. I just enjoyed that one. That was a big upswing coming off of Hatchet 3. I'd like to see where he'd go. I'd like to see where the continuity goes. I'd like to see what Adam does with it, and especially with Kane Hodder. You know, I really do. I'm curious. I definitely am.
See, I went sarcasm on this one. It's like the bar is low. It's like, why not? Because the difference between like the Saw franchise is about the twist. It's like the twist and the lessons and all this other kind of stuff. Yeah. Whereas with Hatchet is just creative kills. And as long as you keep coming up with creative kills, you just keep making them.
Yep.
Fuck yeah. All right. Well, I guess it's my turn, and I'm lucky because there's no trailer. There's no trailer for this one.
Oh. This is the bottom of the barrel.
There is no. I could not find a trailer for this movie, but the full film is on YouTube, so I linked it in our Discord. The link for our Discord, for the Week in Horror Discord, is in the description below. So you can come over and join it, and you can watch this entire film. I've linked it. So
you could
roll it.
No. God, so boring. Anyway, the next film that we're going to talk about is Honeymoon Horror. There was a lot of H's this week. There were. But it is not too much to say about this one. But Honeymoon Horror released June 15th, 1982. Unfortunately, no trailer to speak of. But like I said, the full film is linked in our Discord. This particular movie was directed by Harry Preston, written by L.L. Carney and Harry Preston, and stars Paul Iwanski, Bob Wagner, and Cheryl Black. And the film centers around 3 couples who are enjoying their honeymoons at this remote lodge in the middle of nowhere. And what starts as a weekend of love turns into a nightmare of blood and terror for the 3 couples. Who lurks in the shadows, who's hunting them? We don't know, but he has impeccable fucking pants. I will give him that because I was impressed with this killer's fashion style. Because because you know the trend, the trope when the killer walks in, you just see their feet when they walk in. It's like, I was like, those are some nice shoes. Those are some nice pants.
All right. Yeah.
All right.
Obviously,
style.
Yeah, he obviously his dry cleaners on fucking point.
I was like, and given his face, man, I mean, okay. If you're going to, there's nothing worse than a slasher that doesn't show the slashing. That's problematic. And that was my biggest problem with this, is it didn't show shit.
It showed shit. That's exactly what it showed. It showed shit.
It didn't show anything what we wanted to see.
We didn't want to see it.
the entire film is a weird mishmash of kind of ideas that's taken from, you can see a number of inspirations from all the places. Obviously, this follows the burned killer trend, the individual who is disfigured completely and then becomes a monster via their disfigurement, and following the interesting thing, following the revenge riff, because Johnny says every slasher is a revenge film.
Mm-hmm.
And I was sitting there thinking about it. I hate to say this, but I think he may be right.
Wait. You're talking about revenge?
Like, all slasher films are revenge films.
Yep, in some way.
And I'm kind of like, I just don't want to say it. I don't want to say it, but nonetheless, it's a strange thing. But the problem with this one was that you have a well lit film. You have a good area, a good place that everybody's running around, getting killed in and shit like this. And no, you don't get to see it. All you see is the beginning, and you see the aftermath. They wasted an entire shower opportunity, the shower scene. Okay, they had a shower scene set up, didn't see shit. Just see, and then she falls down all bloody and she's fucking dead. Like, did they cut it out completely?
It's like 1950s style censorship, self-censorship too, and fuck.
Sarcasm
more action watching like flies. I don't know if it was terrible.
Sarcasm is right. This is definitely, but they got it in the can movie. They got it in the can.
It is technically a movie.
It's technically a movie, but and that was the problem with this one. That's the one big the weird thing I took away, because there was a lot of things that were going for it. You had a really, really decent set. You had decent camera work. You had decent lighting. You had fairly decent. For 82, I'm not gonna fault them. And acting that was par for the course. You're in a slasher film. But nothing that makes the slasher what it is. There's no fucking titties in this. There is no gratuitous sex in it. There's no drinking or partying or anything. These are three couples on their honeymoon. There should be gratuitous fucking in this movie, and there is not. But there is.
I like how those are the three things that you mentioned in the slasher film. Not bloody kills, not an interesting bad guy. Tits.
Oh, no, I was getting to the bad guy. But
wait. First of all, before we get too far, you need to annotate where that is on the timestamp so you can use that as an intro. There is not fucking in this movie.
It's a honeymoon film. There should be gratuitous fucking, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Episode 438. I gotta write it down. Episode 438 and honeymoon. I gotta find my line in there. Anyway, for the next trailer. But that was the problem. And then, of course, you have an impeccably dressed bad guy. Well dressed. I was quite impressed.
Like fucking GQ, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah, until they show his face, and
that's where they put the budget in.
He looks like Uncle Fester melted, and then you have, Uncle Fester dressed as like a fucking 70s pimp melted.
Yeah,
and then you have the aftermath of all the kills, but no action in and of itself, and then a kind of lackluster third act. It just kind of like ends.
And that's the worst part you talk about right there. There's no action. That's the worst part about it. Like I can do a movie, a slasher or a horror film that doesn't have like the bloodiest of kills, so long as there's something. Like if you make it kind of action right. Because what was it? Jason 6, where the blood was like they damn near, just to appease the censors, they damn near had no blood in the fucking movie whatsoever, but it was still fun. There were still things that happened. This one's like, maybe something's going to happen. Nope, nothing happened.
No humor. No, nothing. Go ahead.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's just boring. Like I was sitting there, I was watching it on YouTube, and I just kept forgetting I was watching it. So I'm like, oh, this is still on.
It was just I hate a slasher film that's a slasher film should not be boring. It either should be so bad that it's good, or at least you can see where they tried. And it's like everything that makes a slasher was not in this. No. So it was like made for TV slasher film, which is absolutely silly. Yep. And just I like I said, and you can see where they were kind of taking their inspiration, but they never went to bat. It's like, oh, we're gonna take it from this. It's like, no, but we're not gonna shoot for the fences. We're just gonna allude to it, which is fucking weird. Which is such a shame because I like the setup. The setup was decent. Couples on their honeymoons multiple couples, killer on the loose, even though they fucking telegraphed it in the goddamn beginning of the movie. Because you're watching a slasher film, and all of a sudden the fucking they're having an affair, and all of a sudden the guy comes in, "You're fucking my wife." Pow! Falls on the ground. Fire! Let's get out of here. Later, who do you think the bad guy's gonna be? Come on, man. Especially when the cheating wife is there.
It's going to be Colonel Mustard with a candlestick in the library. By the way, that plot is far more interesting than the fucking plot we got in this movie.
Yes. Everything about it was telegraphed and just a wasted opportunity.
Did you say telegraphed? Yes.
Telegraphed. They telegraphed like that. So, but the thing that gets me, and Eugene, is every slasher film a revenge story? This is a revenge story. This is what this is. It's the jilted husband left for dead, getting revenge on his ex-wife. So technically, they never divorced. So technically, he was dead. So, but nonetheless, it's a revenge. Is every slasher film a revenge film?
See, I initially started thinking maybe the first Texas Chainsaw Massacre, because they were just there, and it's kind of how the Sawyer family is. But if you dive into the lore, then you kind of see, because then the town attacks them and so forth as you get kind of further on in the franchise.
Okay, wait a second. Slash film. No, because Halloween was not a revenge film. Michael wasn't getting revenge on anybody.
Getting revenge on the fact that he's a fucking psycho.
But Michael wasn't getting revenge. Michael was just killing people. See,
That's
Tony
fair.
Regime says The Burning, Nightmare on Elm Street, definitely revenge film.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah.
Halloween 2, definitely a revenge film, because that's when he selectively targets Jamie Lee Curtis, Laurie.
Yeah.
That's when he says, okay, the bitch that got away, bitch, you're mine. And that's what kicks off. So Halloween 2, definitely revenge. But Halloween, not revenge.
Yeah, she was just wrong place, wrong time.
She was just there. And her friends died before she did, because he was like, oh, I see girls on street. Girls will die. Kills girls. And she happened to be the last one, happened to make it. But
why? But why? It was alluded that she was in the Jason 2 through 10. No. Technically, all Jason.
They're all revenge films, because Mama Voorhees, Pamela, but Mama Voorhees was getting revenge for the death of her son. That was the first one. And then 2 through 10, he's essentially avenging the death of his mother.
Right.
Anybody who comes to Crystal Lake. So he's bound to Crystal Lake, and until his death, and he comes back. So
until he goes
revenge
to Manhattan for some unknown.
Until he goes to space.
Until he goes to space. and then comes back in like a meteor.
Like a meteor.
So Friday 13th, still a revenge flick. But the first Halloween, not revenge. So I think that breaks it.
It doesn't break it though, right? There's always going to be an exception.
You can still be right 99.9% of the time.
It's not about being. It's not about being right. Okay, I'm not trying to.
Whatever.
No,
it's always about being right for you.
No. It's not about being right. It's about finding the genre rule. I mean, if you look at slasher films, the vast majority of them are revenge films.
Madman wasn't a revenge film.
Okay, you've named 2 films.
They trespassed on his land. That's why.
What's that?
Did they trespass on his land? No, wait, no. I'm sorry. They didn't trespass land. They summoned him.
Okay.
Remember, because he was like an urban legend. He was like a legend. They summoned him, and they said if you summon him, if you summon him, he'll come and kill you. So that's not a revenge flick.
That is revenge. I was fucking napping. Y'all motherfuckers woke me up. Bam, you're dead.
Is that?
I would say that's revenge. It's petty revenge.
It's petty revenge, but it is. No, again, so I'll give you 2. We named 2 out of how many slashers?
2 out of thousands,
millions.
Okay, so wrote it no less now. Okay, so NA wants to see Jason on Mars. That would be fucking funny.
Why not?
Why not?
Tony Regime says it's not about being right. It's about being pedantic.
No, it's about establishing the genre.
Rodent Ellis name says Event Horizon Phantasm, but Event Horizon not a slasher film. Phantasm not a slasher film.
Another haunted house film.
Haunted house films because they have the ship and you have the mausoleum.
Yep.
Raven Darkness says, okay, I'll give you 2 to 9. 10 waste of my money. Okay, so that was easy. Hey, you take that back because Jason X was fucking amazing.
I guess he's screwed.
The best part about 10 was the fact that he got to redo his most favorite kill.
The sleeping bag kill.
Yeah.
Say, Sir Cab says, perhaps revenge makes a slasher feel better. And Rodinola's name says, revenge is an easy motivation for an antagonist to kill. Yeah, very true. Very true. And everybody can get behind it. We can all relate to that. So that's a question that I want to ask that. So I was going to ask something else for the CTA, but in this particular one, because Johnny brought this up when we were talking about this movie in the green room. Does this rule? Do you agree with Johnny that this rule holds for the vast majority of slashers? That slashers are like 9 times out of 10 revenge flicks, or is he just oversimplifying it? And they're not all revenge flicks. Obviously, we pointed out a couple that aren't like straight revenge flicks.
Right.
Let us know in the comments below or weekinhorror@gmail.com, or of course here in the live chat. What do you think? Are all slasher films revenge? Is that a rule that slasher films should be revenge flicks, or is it just something that they fell into because it's easy? Like Rodin Same pointed out, it's an easy motivation.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know that it was done on purpose from the beginning. I think it was an accident that it happened that way. It just makes it easier.
Wolf Creek, not a revenge flick. Not revenge.
I don't know if I would go so far as to call Wolf Creek a slasher, though.
Oh, that's a slasher.
No. I don't know if I mean, again, Stalker for certain.
Okay,
new CTA. Is Wolf Creek a slasher film?
See, that's the thing.
Let us know in the comments.
I wouldn't necessarily go slasher because it's only the 3 of them. And it mainly focuses on, it's not like it's a group of camp counselors or teenagers or college students. Well, I guess they're like college age-ish, or like maybe like they're like 25-ish. But you only really have 3 that it kind of really focuses on. So it's more of like a thriller on just them, and a couple random people get killed here and there, but it's mainly them.
And see, sarcasm brings a good point as well. Sorry, Eugene.
And see, and I think the way sarcasm says it, well, Wolf Creek is a serial killer film, absolutely. But if it follows all the norms of a slasher, I wouldn't necessarily say so.
Which it does. It's a slasher film. Essentially, you're just making the argument that squares are rectangles, but rectangles aren't squares. It's essentially what you're doing.
A rectangle's not a square.
This is true.
Okay. A rectangle is a square because it has 4 right angles. That's what makes it a square.
Look at this. I love this. Joshua Lee brought up Evil Dead. Unfortunately, Evil Dead is another haunted house film. Yep. Tony Regime says Maniac isn't really a revenge. It's not a revenge film.
The fact that you say it isn't really a revenge film.
It's not a revenge film. I said it's not a revenge film. Tony said it isn't really, and it's not a revenge film. Frayed Edges, unfortunately, Scream was a revenge film because it was Billy getting revenge for the abandonment by his mother.
Yep.
Revenge against Sydney after he killed her mother for being abandoned for the affair. And so that is, and what's wild is that you had two antagonists. You had Billy and Stu. Stu did not know Billy's motive. Stu was just doing it for the fun. He's like, we're doing it because Stu's a fucking psycho. But Billy actually had motivation, and Stu was not aware of that, which is a awesome moment of realization in that movie. I love that scene when even Stu was like, "Holy shit! Like you legit fuck." I was just having fun. Damn. Strange Lex 790 says Rest Stop. I would agree. Rest Stop, not a revenge flick.
And again, I said the vast majority.
Vast majority. Okay, well, let us know
majority
in the
are.
comments below.
Scary movie.
And
Yeah.
also let us know, is Wolf Creek a slasher? Yes. Yes, it
I would
is.
say no. I would say no. Not a slasher.
I think it's more. Yeah, I mean, I think I don't know. I think it's one of those ones that can go either way. I think you could make a strong case for it being a slasher and a strong case for it not being a slasher.
See, now the live chat's fucking thinking about it.
They are.
The Hitcher, not a revenge flick. Peeping Tom, not a revenge flick. Dreamcatcher is a sci-fi alien movie, so it's not even. It's so far from slasher. Shit weasels. It had shit weasels. It's not even in the same ballpark.
This brings the conversation in terms of a slasher, because you always have to have the group of teenagers, the group of college kids. You always have to have the group. How big does that group have to be? Because with the Hitcher, it only focuses on 2 people. Yeah. On Wolf Creek, it's only 3 people. Yeah. Versus something like Friday the 13th, where there's like 20 people there, or
that's
even.
And I think that's what keeps like Scream. That's what keeps Scream from being Psycho from being a slasher. How many people get killed in?
I still like 2 people. More than 2 or 3.
I think 2
or 3. One of those. I want to say 2.
Okay, that's why I agree that Psycho is a proto slasher, but. And yes, we're talking about slashers here, and someone did say today's rant brought to you by Kane Hodder. It absolutely is. I think it was Rodent No Last Name who said that. Said, a slasher film is a genre of horror films, no shit, involving a killer stalking and murdering a group of people, usually by use of bladed or sharp tools like knife, chainsaw, scalpel, etc. Although the term slasher may occasionally be used informally as a generic term for any horror film involving murder, film analysts cite an established set of characteristics which set slasher films apart from other horror subgenres such as monster movies, splatter films, supernatural, and psychological horrors. So, giallo films and psychological films like Peeping Tom and Psycho are early influences. So we say proto slashers. Mm-hmm. The genre hit its peak between 78 and 84. Notable films include Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Black Christmas, Halloween, Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, Child's Play, Candyman, Scream, I Know What You Did Last Summer. So
funny, out of all those films you just mentioned, I think all but one.
I Know What You Did Last Summer is revenge. Scream is revenge. Mm-hmm. Candyman is definitely
a lot of revenge.
A lot of revenge. Child's Play wasn't revenge.
Yes, it was.
No, the first one was not.
Yes, it was.
No, it wasn't. He wasn't getting revenge on anybody. He just transferred his body into the doll in order to escape, being killed. That's all. And then he went on the journey to get a new human body, which had to be Andy because it was the first person he revealed himself to. But that wasn't revenge. Revenge didn't come into it until Child's Play 2 when he directly targeted Andy for murder because he's like, the kid who stopped me, I'm gonna kill him now.
Okay, but then again, we're stepping into that revenge portion of
all the other Child's Play are revenge after that.
They're revenge afterwards, but not the first one. Nightmare on Elm Street, definitely revenge. Friday the 13th, Halloween, not revenge. Black Christmas.
Black Christmas is revenge.
Targeting the house. The people were inconsequential. See, there's
an argument. Again, Black Christmas, there's an argument to be made both ways. Because, he's targeting the house. He's still targeting something for a reason because that house was mean to him.
Yeah.
Because revenge doesn't have to be person-based. So it can be just a house. That's why I would say it is a revenge film.
Damn this house. Sarcasm says it was me. Tangent prediction confirmed. Absolutely.
Oh, we confirmed it when you said it.
Yes. I still say Wolf Creek is a slasher film. I'm gonna stick to my guns on. I'm gonna stick to my chainsaw on that one. So stick to my Bowie knife on that one. Stick to my Bowie knife on that one.
Yep. Wasn't the biblical?
In fact, he says, wasn't the biblical story of Jebus a revenge story? It's fucking funny. Rodent No Last Name says, revenge is a trend in slashers, not a rule.
Again, I think it's a soft rule because it's easy. It's easy to motivate. It's easy to motivate a slasher that way. Very easy.
Yeah, it's basically it's like the argument like, most slashers use bladed weapons, but it's okay if you use a gun every once in a while. Like, it happens.
That's true. Yeah. Scream 3. He busted out. He was like, "You lose something? Found something. Man, shot that bitch." I still fucking love that scene. As goofy as that movie was, he's like, "Ha! I got you." He's like, "I just like found something." He was like, "You lost something? Found something." Gat. I was like, "Yeah. Gun beats knife. It really does."
Yep.
Oh, that was funny. Angel Rivera says Revenge of the Nerds is about revenge. Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it was. It was.
Oh,
all right.
Okay.
So, Johnny, take us home on this last one. I happen to like this one.
You like this one because D. Wallace was hitting on you at Texas Frightmare.
I like the D. Wallace.
Look at him turning red. He knows it's true.
D. Wallace is a small part of why I like this one. Okay, D. Wallace is a large part of why I like this one. But there are other things I dug about this, and we're gonna get into that. But you take it away. Take it away.
I was waiting for you to fucking.
That means no. I'm not gonna. No.
You're no longer denying it. You're embracing it.
Tony Regime says gun does not beat knife in the Magnificent Seven. This is true. This is true.
Very true.
We are obviously talking about the 2016 horror film Red Christmas.
You gotta give me the cue.
Oh, play the stupid fucking trailer. I mean, play that trailer. No, I'm kidding. This wasn't terrible.
Hey, come on in.
Oh, Jenny, my favorite sister.
Hands in the oven, presents in 15 minutes. This year I thought before we opened presents, it would be nice if we went around and said what we're grateful for.
Perhaps paid a good lead us in a prayer.
This isn't a goddamn church. And here I thought this would be so easy. I know how hard it can be starting a family late in life.
You're on the clock, buddy.
That was the 2016 horror film Red Christmas. That is a slasher, and funnily enough, is a revenge story.
Yes, it was a fucking revenge story.
Thank you. Okay. Directed by Craig Anderson, written by Craig Anderson, produced by Craig Anderson, starring obviously D. Wallace, Jeff Morrell, David Collins. Basically, what you see is what you get. It's a family that comes together. They're Australian, except D. Wallace, mind you. She's not Australian, but she's D. Wallace. So fuck yeah, hire her. They all get together for Christmas and decide to do a Thanksgiving. Tell us what you're thankful for. Bullshit. Whatever. And then this weird masked, hooded figure shows up and starts fucking killing everybody. And I do mean everybody.
Yes.
The only one that survives is the one that does not start the movie alive. That's it.
It's a weird way of putting that.
That's a weird way of putting it, isn't it?
it's odd because technically they were, but they didn't. They were well. Okay, no.
Catholic Church. The Catholic
Church.
Church.
Hi, Sherry Tilly. Good to see you. Thanks so much for being here. Sherry's here.
Catholic Church would not baptize nor perform burial rites.
And I see Freight Edges is here. Good to see you, Freight Edges. Who says I see you've played Knifey Spoony before. Yep, we have played Knifey Spoony. So the reason I dug this one is predominantly because obviously as D. Wallace, and I'm a giant D. Wallace fan. But the second thing is that the film, this is what was weird. The trailer that everybody just saw set up a lot of moments to make them look very, very comical. Like this is a black comedy film. And it could have easily been a black comedy film. But the one thing that got me on this is that this film really doesn't have any like laugh out loud moments in it. There really is not. Mm-hmm. All the moments that should be funny come off as kind of tragic.
Yep.
And there is a darkness. There's like a darkness that is that permeates every single scene in the film. And I think that's because of how it was not only just because of how everybody kind of delivered their lines and the gratuitous dysfunction of the family itself, but the idea that you have a killer and where the killer came up in the revenge is because it was an abortion clinic. The abortion clinic was destroyed. The kid, like the child that was intended to be aborted, was made off with and then raised, and 30 years later comes back looking for revenge. But you have a killer who has Down syndrome and is horribly, disfigured and is looking for love and acceptance. And when he doesn't get it, then, turns on the family, starts butchering everybody. And because of that, I think that's what lends it to, it's not comedic, it's darkly tragic in that respect.
Yes.
And it's also the cinematography lends it to that as well. The way it lingers on shots and kind of like lends them out. Like after the moment has passed, it kind of like lingers a little long and just kind of like, oh, and then you kind of like lose the energy. It's like, oh, so you constantly get this whole kind of like, throughout the whole film.
There was definitely a political message in this here movie.
Would we say there was a message? I mean,
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe not so much. Maybe accidentally there was a message here. Because this was 2016. There was a lot of things going on in the world, a lot of things going on in the States as well. But I don't know. I looking at it through this current magnifying glass, I would say yes, there's a political message here. But, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, right? Because a lot of politics show up in horror films. I mean, the vast majority of horror films are political commentary or satire. Just the way it is. So I don't know. It's tough on this one here. I think so.
I didn't really get. I guess you can say that there's a message here, but the biggest thing I noticed when I'm watching it, and this is how I felt with it. It seemed like it was like a college thesis film. That's
okay.
The feel I got for it. Because the thing is like it's not like super bad. It's not like earlier with Human Gas where it's like super underexposed. But you can tell they did, like, in terms of lighting wise, a lot of cheap tricks where they used a lot of Christmas lights. Every room had these string LEDs that they're cheap that you can get to help light stuff. And if you notice a lot of like the camera work itself, it felt more like a handheld Panasonic camera, like a camcorder.
They
just run around with like a camera.
Yeah, exactly. They did a lot of post editing to kind of hide the shaky cam type thing. You could tell they were like, you know what I mean? But
yeah, it's like they wanted camera movement, which is a good thing, but they couldn't afford like a steady cam or a gimbal or anything like that. So I definitely got the kind of the cheaper feel on it. And that's kind of when you look at like seniors in film school, this is kind of the style that they kind of shoot. It's not great, it's not bad, it's somewhere kind of in the middle. And even with Dee Wallace, you can get Dee Wallace probably on the cheap. She probably paid her the most out of everybody else in the film. Most people probably did it for next to nothing. And then kind of get a budget just to have her and have her name associated with it. But that was a feel like a college thesis film.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say
they also probably get Dee Wallace on the cheap.
Do that for free.
Anyway, I will say with that's the thing that I took that I really dug about this one, and I agree that the cinematography and stuff, I think for some people will leave a lot to be desired. I think that the opportunities to be funny, a lot of people looking at this even today will look at it and say, oh, "Damn!" With the current climate is what the issue is. In 2016, this went over a lot differently. In 2023, given what we have going on, this hits in a different way, which just goes to show the effect like society can have on looking back at things. Yeah. I thoroughly enjoyed it because it wasn't what I expected. I have a fondness for Australian horror films because, like Canadian films, they try to do something different. They try to do interesting things in interesting ways. I dig this one. I especially enjoyed the kills in it. I thought they were, even though there's a lot of fun and nostalgia in having gratuitous, graphic, bloody kills that are prolonged. This one was simplistic. The killer's got a fucking axe. Yeah, axe murder everybody.
That bear trap kill was pretty cool.
The bear trap kill was pretty good. And I both wish and I'm glad that we didn't see more, because all you hear is the sound. It's like oh, and then snap. Oh shit! Because if you notice, they showed the bear traps earlier in the movie.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, because those are there. And then all of a sudden one comes in, bam, he hits the cop with the bear trap. And it's like, obviously he's like high pressure cops and he's sprayed everywhere.
Right. See, but that's how you leave some things to the imagination and then some things not to the imagination.
Show, don't tell.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, that was a conscious thing done on purpose. Even when the priest gets the blender in the back of his head.
That was impressive. I like that. The head goes in there and then the effect on the eyes was pretty fucking wild. I was like, that was pretty inventive. And then, but it was the having the killer have Down syndrome and speak with the affectations that he did, and then having the other actor, what was his name, Gerard Odwyer, who has Down syndrome as well, kind of running around like it. That's what kind of like draws it away from the comedy, and it's kind of like not cringe, but darkly tragic. It could have been cringe. It could have very easily been very cringy the way they utilize the characters. If Craig had utilized the characters a certain way, this one towed that line, until the darkly tragic deal, and then of course the big climax where everybody dies. Dee Wallace's character winds up hanging herself, and the killer dies, and all that's left, and the only one left is the baby. Is the baby who was that one of the girls was pregnant with at the time. She gives birth and the baby's there, and that's it. The baby's the sole survivor. So it's kind of it's an odd circularity to it. I guess it comes full circle in that respect. I get the thesis idea here. I really do. I like this, an excellent observation on this one. I think one would probably dig this for the kills themselves, for watching Dee Wallace and seeing something a little bit different,
Different, sure. Yeah. I don't know that it's, I'm not going to watch it again. It's not something that I'd be like, ooh, I'm going to watch this movie.
I only watched it twice because I wanted to make sure I saw everything, because sometimes little things will get by you. Like I didn't catch the bear traps hanging on the wall as the setup for the bear trap kill. Yeah. Like that didn't click until the second time I watched it. It was like, oh shit, they did set that up. Nice. It was like, okay, gotcha, because they have a good scene where they show that. The only thing I wish was different was that the families themselves were not as dysfunctional, because it's to a degree that you're almost kind of like, oh, I hope these fuckers die.
Yeah, they went a little too.
Which then you feel really bad because one of them has Down syndrome, and you're like, and then he goes out in kind of the saddest way possible. It's just like,
but see, that's the thing. It's like I've been hating that trend lately of the family always has to be dysfunctional. It's like always dysfunctional, always is infighting. And when you look at movies like Poltergeist works because that's a great family and they love each other and they support each other. And it
felt like you're next.
Yeah, you want to root for them. Whereas with this is another reason why it kind of feels tragic is because it's like, oh, there's just a lot of infighting. There's just a lot of like they don't like each other and they're dissing on each other. They're leaving each other to die. And it's just kind of like this. It's like, well, I don't care if they die anyway.
No, that would be Dee Wallace who has a crush on JL.
Johnny seems to think that
No. She was fucking hitting on you.
Anyway, I definitely got super.
I was standing right next to JL while she was being super nice to JL and didn't even fucking say a word to me. So there you are.
I want to know where her eyes were. Was she looking at you in the face?
She was undressing him.
She was. I wouldn't say she was undressing me. She was definitely making eye contact.
She was making eye contact with
your penga. And she smiled.
At your penga.
And she made my day. She wasn't looking at my penga.
Yes, she was. Look at him.
Actually, Strange Lex and Casey Cooper said it was the beard. They both said it exactly. And she actually did comment. It's like she commented on my beard. She did.
Yep.
She has a thing for Santa Clauses.
I guess.
And Viking conquerors.
I'll jingle her bells.
She's like, just call me Greenland.
Wait a minute. Dee Wallace doesn't have bells.
Oh, it's true. I'll rock her holly. I die.
That's better, yeah.
Decorate the halls?
I'll deck the halls? I'm not sure.
Your New Zealander pronunciation of deck.
I'll deck a holes. I'll deck holes.
She will jingle your bells?
No, she can jingle my bells any day. But nonetheless, Joshua was like, "Excuse me, but my eyes are up here." Sarcasm says pics or it didn't happen. I don't have pics. I had her autograph the picture I bought. But Johnny was witness. Johnny was standing right there.
Watched it. And
Johnny watched it happen.
You should have seen the look on his face in real time because he was just like, "Oh, kid in the candy store is Dee Wallace. I'm getting to talk to Dee Wallace." And then I was fucking just standing there watching, like, "Holy shit, Dee Wallace wants to fuck JL."
I'm literally like, "Yay, mom from ET! Yay, mom from Cujo! Yay, I love the Howling! Yay, I'm a fanboy!" And she's like, "I want to wrap my legs around your beardy head.
I want to wear you like the crown that you are."
Oh boy! Oh jeez!
Oh, I love Dee Wallace. She's so amazing. But definitely, I mean, like I said, this one is an interesting one. I dug what they were trying to do. It definitely has a You're Next vibe. It's the dysfunction of the family and how everything kind of falls apart. Going towards the end. It's just the one thing it's going to get you is it's not lauded as a comedy film. The trailer said it was comedic. It's not. It's in my eyes a darkly tragic. It's like a darkly tragic slasher film.
Not even dark comedy. It is just tragic.
It's tragic. It's a
dark film.
It's a dark film.
Yeah.
So agreed.
Well, speaking of Dee Wallace's Holly, what I want to know. This is a terrible way to set up that question. Terrible.
I just wanted a Hurricane Ron on me.
Jesus Christ. Dee Wallace is a very well accomplished actress. She's been in several films, many horror films, many not so horror films. What I want to know, though, what do you think? In your opinion, what is Dee Wallace's best film? Let us know at weekinhorror@gmail.com in the comments section or the side chat. Let us know. What do you think?
I'm still going to say Cujo.
I'm with you. I 100% agree. I think Cujo is her best.
It's her best horror film.
Yeah, it's absolutely her best horror film. She has so much range in that. She, from the unfaithful wife to the loving mother, and then just everything about that her performance is just tip top on that.
Absolutely. People are saying E.T. and Travis Brown said The Frighteners. She was very good in The Frighteners.
Yeah.
I didn't get enough D. Wallace in E.T.
Agreed. Sir says she was just a really shitty mother and never should have had any of those uniquely unlikable children. Rodin Lessane brings up Critters. She was excellent. She was good. I still think as far as Johnny is correct with the range that she gives in Cujo, from from being on the outs with her husband but wanting to make it work, the unfaithful wife, the doting and loving mother who will do anything to protect her son. And everything she does in that is just, she fires on all cylinders. Yep. To go from the hopeful to the desperation to the the falling apart to the rage, all of that. And when she picks up that baseball bat and is like, fuck this shit, she had an Ellen Ripley moment in that film, and going to town. That's why I fucking loved her in that film. It's arguably one of my favorite of hers. I love the fact that I got her autograph on that picture. She's great in everything, but still I think Cujo's the best. Strange Like 790 says The Howling. A lot of love for The Howling. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mind you, all the movies that everybody's bringing up, they're great, and her performance is amazing. So there's no wrong answer here. By any
Tony Regime says The Stepford Wives.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Oh yeah.
She's strong across the board. I have not seen a single thing I haven't liked her. I haven't not liked her in. Yeah. Even in her TV appearances, when she pops up in a show, I love it. Like when she popped up in Supernatural. I was like, fuck yes. She's popped up, and everywhere she happens up, I fucking love it. So I've loved everything she's done. She does never given a bad performance. Cujo, though, I think is her best. But let us know down in the comments below.
I love how Angel Rivera was like, no, we don't need a sequel. Completely different question. He was already ahead of time. No, we are not going to ask, do we need a Red Christmas too?
Call it Blue Christmas. Wait a minute.
All right. Well, you know what time it is.
It's trivia time.
Bunch of fucking nerds.
We are nerds. We are so nerds. All right. So I know that it's what our live stream always looks forward to. And Rodin was saying there was already an alligator too.
Yep.
But it is trivia time, and the first person in the live chat to get the correct answer to this question gets a mystery item from the Week in Horror store. And if you want to check it out, I added a new item to the store. Something very cute for all the ladies out there that you may like.
Funny that I was thinking of that. Ladies' attire would be a great hint to the answer of this horror.
So the first person to get the correct answer to the question tonight gets a mystery item. Take it away, Eugene.
Okay. The question is, what legendary horror was Canadian director Paul Lynch's first horror film? What legendary horror was Canadian director Paul Lynch's first horror film? What is Paul Lynch's first horror film? The first person to comment below will win the mystery item from our store. So
I'm watching the site.
I'm watching it right now. I don't see any answers just yet.
Got the live stream on. Yep. Raven Darkstar says me. No.
Oh, already got it.
Travis Brown.
You're banned.
He already has everything from the store.
Not everything except for the new item.
Yeah,
except for the brand new. I don't think we want to see him in that.
I don't want to see him in that. Hell no.
But you are correct, Travis Brown. The answer to the trivia question: Canadian director Paul Lynch, who directed Humongous, his very first film was Prom. His very first horror film was Prom Night. So yeah, he kicked that one off. Sarcasm, you got it right as well. Wrote know his name as well. But Travis Brown, congratulations. No, it's not a bra, but it is. I'm not going to share the picture. I want people to go and check it out. And it's literally right there at the top. I just added it in today. It kind of popped into my head, and it had to be done. So there's a new item on, but we will ship out a mystery item to you, Travis. Fact, he says, is the mystery item a 3-boob bra? No, that's over on the Sci-Fi Action podcast where they handled Total Recall.
Which we will start that tomorrow.
All right, congrats, Travis Brown. Good job. We'll get that printed out and shipped to you ASAP. All right. And I got to get it set up because it's awesome. Johnny loves it. And that's going to close out another episode of the Week in Horror podcast. Thank you all so much for joining us. We truly hope you enjoyed the show. And if you did, smash those like and subscribe buttons. And be sure to hit that bell so you never miss a future episode. Join us next week when we look back at the 50s classic, I Was a Teenage Werewolf, Nature Run Amok in Nightwing, literally fucking bats, demonic sexy times in Satan's Mistress, and more exorcism insanity in Accidental Exorcist. Be sure to check out Josh Olsen's store at badsamurai.store. He does all the awesome artwork you see splattered all over our merch, which you can find over at Teespring, including the new item I just added today. For more from Week in Horror, check out all of the bloody links that are down in the description. Follow us on the socials for the daily splatter, your daily horror recommendation. Join our Discord for watch parties, big announcements, and all kinds of horror shenanigans. Come on, Johnny. You fucked it up.
Oh, hell, I'll pistol with the next shenanigans.
And support the show through our PayPal link or through our Patreon. Join the higher tiers for early content access and behind-the-scenes fun with the crew, or even just support the show for as little as $1 a month. $1 a month. What are you waiting for? Join us. As always, thank you all for being the greatest audience a horror film podcast could possibly have. I am JL.
And I'm Eugene.
Say the fucking line.
The fucking line. I'm some fat guy. Bye.
We'll see you all next week. And as always, stay scared.
Yeah.
Bye.